Got a very cool video for you guys today. I've just jumped on at the beginning because please watch to the end because I'm going to jump back on at the end because I've got something as rare, if not slightly rarer, to show you now after I've done my research. Enjoy this video, guys.
Hello everyone and welcome to Tamiya Legends. You're probably surprised why you don't see Glenn over here, but rest assured it's only for one episode. But I'll briefly introduce myself. I'm David. I live in Belgium and I'm a Tamiya lover ever since I was 12 years old. My first car was a Lamborghini Countach. Later I started racing, collecting. I had a top 50 new in box Tamiya twice. And now I only collect special cars or cars that are special to me. And that's the reason why Glenn asked me to do a special review on one of the cars, the TRF 211X, the first ever Tamiya TRF car. As you might know, Tamiya was the biggest RC company in the 70s and 80s. But around 85, there was a new kind of racing going on, the Ifmar World Championship. Ifmar is the International Federation for Model Auto Racing. And every 2 years they hosted a World Championship. Tamiya at first wasn't really interested in it, because they were making leisure cars, cars to have fun with. But as the Ifmar World Championship started to gain more and more attraction, Tamiya also jumped on the wagon and they started making real off-road racing cars. One of the first cars they made that was really competitive was this Astute two-wheel driven car, rear motor, and you could put all kind of hop-ups on it, like those aluminium dampers, slipper clutch, and so on and so on. And this is the first car that Tamiya raced with in their Tamiya racing factory. They upgraded it and there was even a TRF Astute, but that was a very special car. So Tamiya gathered information from the TRF Astute and the Super Astute, and they entered the Detroit Worlds in '91 with TRF 201X, I think. But in '93 they made a special car, the very first real TRF car. And I would like to show you what it looks like. So about 200 of these cars were made and each driver got a box like this. Over here you see the serial number 1. There isn't an indication how many were made, but I spoke to some people and some said around 200. With the kit there was also a special decal sheet included, and if you look on the decal sheet you see all the names from the drivers back then. There were some Belgian, French, Japanese, English drivers, 54 in total. And there's also a sheet with the very first TRF decal sheets. So this is how they look like. We'll have a closer look at the box right now. Yeah, so when we open the box, the first thing we see is the manual, and the manual isn't really up to the modern Tamiya standards, because this was just a prototype. They made it for the drivers and not for the public. What is interesting is that you see a date on the manual. You see it's made in June '92. So the car dates from June '92. The manual is just photocopied part with all the different parts and screws, the dampers, which are high cap dampers. And at the end, you also get a parts list and a cool setup sheet for the TRF 211X. Some further explanations. So a pretty neat manual. And like every other Tamiya kit, all the screws and parts, they are marked. So this is the B parts bag with the pink wheels and some normal parts. Interesting to see that these parts, they are actually from a Super Astute. I don't know whether you can see it, but these parts are from a Super Astute. So those are not real prototype parts. The A parts bag is the other plastic sprues. I have to take a look at the manual to see what they are. And this is the most interesting bag and probably the most expensive one as well, the C parts. You get really crazy high cap dampers, but I think they've got a different color. And also lots and lots of titanium screws, different springs. So this is a really nice bag. Next up are the Spur Gears. And what else have we got here? The wheels and tires. So I've already compared those and they seem to be exactly the same as the Dynastorm, which sits behind me. There was also a neat Tamiya badge included. And then we've got the spoiler, the body shell. It's actually pretty strange, the body shell. It has nothing familiar with the Dynastorm. And then the chassis plates, carbon fiber chassis plates, which are part C. And also included is this gear cover. I will quickly take a look at the Dynastorm, because many people said it shares many same parts as the Dynastorm. But if we take a look at the body, for instance, you will see that these parts are similar, but not really the same. I don't know whether you see it, but the Dynastorm has got some more details than the TRF, whereas the TRF is, yeah, perhaps a bit flatter overall. Also, the chassis parts, I hope you can see something out of it, but the damper stays and so they've got a different form as well. I said before that the tires are the same, and over here you can really see that the tires are exactly the same. I didn't check the marking, but it's probably similar. Another part that is more or less similar are the wheels, but these are of course the pink ones, whereas these are white ones. And I need to take a further look at the car to see which parts are the same and which are different. But you've already got a view of the car, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching our channel. Thanks, bye-bye.
Right, first of all, how cool is that, and how uber rare is that thing? 100 to 200 made. The research I've sort of done since making this video, it's round about the 100 mark. So for David to have a new in-box one, it's got to be the rarest Tamiya car out there. Or is it? So just before I get into that, I want to give David a massive shout out. This is his YouTube channel, so please show him some love. And go check out his latest TCO1 videos, especially the running video. It is absolutely superb. So David, if you're watching, I cannot thank you enough for helping me do this video, my friend. Right, so as I'm doing my research, I'm into Google all over looking at the TRF 211X, and it takes me to a website done called Black Hole Sun. A lot of you Tamiya guys will know it. It's a superb website. I'll put a link in the description to it. Now from there I came across, so obviously you've just seen the TRF 211X. I then came across the TRF 411X, and I was like, oh wow, this is a completely new one, because I had heard of the 211X. So I clicked on it, looked at these pictures. The Black Hole Sun website said to give a shout out to whose car this was in the resources. So I went into the resources because I wanted to try give the guy a shout out on here if I'm talking about his project. Anyway, that took me to Tamiya Club website. Now I'm not a member of there, but I'll put up here who the gentleman is. His username is PUS. I don't think I know him. He could be on Tamiya Legends, I've no idea. Hopefully we'll find out if he watches this video. But this was his whole full build thread. So I'm just going to put some pictures up now of the TRF 411X, and as you can see, it's very similar to the 211, but it's a four-wheel drive version. The rear gearbox looks almost identical, bolted onto this top and lower and top deck carbon chassis, and it's got this really kind of strange front gearbox. But the only thing I'm not 100% sure about in those pictures, if that's the correct shocks that came with the 411. I would have imagined it would have been the high caps, the same as the 211, because they look like Dynastorm ones to me. But after making this video, I will be doing more research on it, because I want to find out a little bit more about the 411. So from those pictures, I think we can see where the top force came from. Just super cool. I love videos like this. I personally love learning about the Tamiya history, and like these two particular cars, as I say, I had heard of the 211, but the 411 never heard of. The little bit of research and reading I've done, I'm going to go out on a limb now and say I think the 411 is actually rarer than the 211, but I won't say any more on that because I could be wrong. But the little bit of reading I have done, it was almost the 211 went out to the drivers and it was raced. The 411 was planned to do that, but I'm not too sure it kind of got to the races, but I could be wrong. Anyway, stick in the comments if you know about this kind of stuff, because I'll read this stuff forever. I absolutely love it. And before I go, I just want to say how I find it uber cool, use the uber cool word again, the timeline. You know, Tamiya put out, as David said at the beginning, he put out, Tamiya made the Astute, which was a serious attempt at a two-wheel drive competitive off-road buggy. You know, it had its faults. Then came the Super Astute with a better, what was it, the TTC gearbox, Tamiya Traction Control gearbox. And then, obviously, I knew what I thought then. It went to the Dynastorm with the multi-disc gearbox clutch system. But obviously, the TRF 211X sits in the middle of Super Astute and Dynastorm. You know, I just think that's super cool to know. And then, of course, no more TRF until the 201, which was, and I'm going to get this date wrong, I'm making this off the top of my head, TRF 201, probably 2005, 2006, maybe later. So there was years and years of his first TRF until the TRF 201 came along, and then the four-wheel drives, and then they disbanded TRF in 2014 after the 503. Really hoping, Tamiya, you come back with TRF again at some point. I think we're desperate for a four-wheel drive competitive buggy. Even if it's a DB03, something like that would be super cool. Anyway, guys, I've rattled on. I really enjoyed this video. If you guys did, give me a thumbs up. Stick a comment down, guys, if you want to see more of this stuff. And again, David, thank you so much for your help. It is really appreciated. So guys, thanks so much for watching. It's much appreciated. If you are new to this channel, if you could please consider liking and subscribing to support us. And if you do that, smash that notification bell for our weekly videos. And as always, guys, happy RCing.